Hello basketball coaches and basketball players, my name is Alan from Al's Basketball Training, and today I'm going to give you a fantastic 1-3-1 pass cut swing motion offense for the 1-3-1 set. Now, this is a great offense. This was actually given to me by a coach asking how he can run this offense up against a 2-3 zone. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to break down what this offense really is, because I've never actually done that on this channel, and then I'm going to get into how to run it against a man-to-man, a 3-2 zone, as well as a 2-3 zone, and some of the different strategies that you can use against those different defenses that you get shown. Now let's get down to the clipboard, let's check out this offense, and then later on in this video against different defenses. Okay, so first in this play, we're going to have player 1 pass to player 2. That's going to then pop player 4 out towards the 3-point line, and player 5, he is going to cut down towards this low post. Now from there, player 2 is going to be passing the ball to player 4. Player 2 is then going to be cutting across the key. He can be doing a cut right across the key, or he can do more like a high cut across, and he's going to pop down towards this low corner. Now, what we're going to be seeing is player 4 dribbling the ball back up towards the free throw line extended, where he's going to pass to player 1, and we're going to be doing a quick swing over to player 3 and back over to player 2. Meanwhile, player 5 is going to be showing to the high post once again. Now, there's a couple of different options that come out of this play. So against the man-to-man defense, which is what I am running right now, what we're going to be having is, of course, player 3 cutting back across, and it's a motion. So basically, you're going through the same motions over and over again. However, what you're looking to do in a couple of different sets that you can run out of it, and that is, one of the sets that I would run is I would have player 5 returning back up towards the free throw line, and instead of having player 3 cut across the key right away, I would actually have him screen down quickly for player 2. Player 2 is going to use that screen, and now he could take that shot. That is an option. He could also pass to player 5 at the high post if player 5 red was sagging off, because the next move is for player 3 to roll off that screen. So if player 5 red was playing help type defense and moving down to cut off that pass, we may have player 5 open for a free throw shot, or he could do a high to low pass to player 3, which is another option. Now, coming off of this screen and roll, we may have player 3 wide open as well for the lob pass in for the reverse or for a regular left-handed layup. So that is one play that you can run on both sides of the court against a man-to-man defense. Now going back to the swing, so we'll switch those players back. Going back to the swinging around the key, or around the perimeter, sorry. Another option that we could have is player 1 passing to 2 like he was before, and player 2 passing to player 3. And now we could have, instead of player 5 going to the low post, he could still go down to the low post, but he could either head towards the screen first, or he can go down to the low post first and then do the screen. It's totally up to him. And he's going to set a back screen on player 2. So now player 2 has the option to cut in front or behind. Personally, I would have him cut in front, as to now he may be open for that layup. But also, what could happen is this could be a switch, in which case player 5, once player 2 clears out, he needs to then, because player 2 would be going over there anyways, player 5, he could either then roll towards the basket and he may be open for a layup. Or what could also happen is, since we have cleared out the side, we can now have player 5 come off of that screen. Let's say they never switched. We can now have player 5 come off that screen and set a screen and roll for player 3. And now, with player 5 rolling towards the basket, player 3 could take that shot, or player 5 could also get a layup as well if player 3 was to pass to him. So there's a couple of different things that you can do. Now, even though we just ran essentially two set plays in a row off of this motion, we're still back to what we were running before, which is player 5 going towards that low post. He could pop up to the free throw line extended, or the free throw line just like before. Player 1 can pass to player 4. Player 4 passes back to player 2. And now we have ourselves still in the same offense, the same motion that we were running before, but we have added in a couple of screens to get ourselves open. So when this coach came up to me in Facebook Messenger and said, hey, how can I run this against the 2-3 zone? I went to my videos. I've got over 2,000 videos on this channel, and I was like, oh my God, I've never actually made a video on this offense, and I actually really like this offense. So obviously that's why I'm making this video today. However, we just ran this offense against a man-to-man defense, a couple of different sets that you can run out of it, and you can either have your players know the offense and have the point guard say, hey, we're running play 1, 2, whatever it may be, play whatever you want to call it, but that from there, you can also just say, hey, you guys are smart. You guys are smart enough. I want you guys to read what the defense is giving you. So when you're out there, I want you either, like, let's say you want a screen, call for a screen, or for the center, I want him to be smart enough to say, oh, hey, I could get a mismatch. This guy keeps on switching on the screens. I can get a mismatch, and now my 6'2" body can go against that guy's 5'1" frame. And I'm going to absolutely destroy him in the low post or rolling towards the basket. So how I always like to teach my players is, sure, we can have some set plays that we can call, but at the same time, we can now go in and just be smart enough. And I always like to explain to my guys, I trust you guys as play callers. So if you see something on the court that you want to do, go do it. If it didn't work, you now learn that that doesn't work. But if it does work, that's something that maybe we can add in. So as a center, if you see that, oh, hey, that guy's cutting across 3 or 4 times in a row in our motion offense, maybe I can set a screen for him and get one of the two of us open. Now let's go against the 2-3 zone and let's check out these plays. Okay, so against the 2-3 zone, generally speaking, you're going to be having the players trap up top. Now, you may not have this if they're smart enough. You may have player 2 sagging off just a bit, player 5 playing in between players 5 and 4, and player 4 kind of shadowing player 2. That may be an option, player 3 moving up. Now, if this is the case and they leave player 4 wide open, definitely do a lob pass. Now, if they're not doing that and they're staying away, they're kind of still shadowing and forcing player 1 to go left or right, which is generally what a 2-3 zone wants to do. They want to kind of force you away from the middle of the court. What you can run here is, again, same idea. Player 1 passes to player 2, player 4 pops out, player 5 goes down into the low post. Now the zone defense is going to be moving just like so. And from there, we can now see a couple of different options open up. So the first biggest option that we have is the fact that player 3 is wide open. So we could take one quick dribble out towards this left side, and now we can do a skip pass over to player 3 for a shot. That is one option. Now, if he was to get that ball, you're going to be seeing both 1 and 3 closing out on him, so he needs to be smart and say, oh, hey, I can get off the shot, or if I can't get off the shot, we can pass back to player 1 for that 3-point shot there. But going back into the play itself, player 2 passes to player 4, and what I'd like to see is when player 2 cuts across, I want to see player 5 setting a screen on player 3. That way, when player 4 moves up and around, we're going to be seeing a quick pass here, quick pass over to player 3, or maybe even a skip pass over to player 2, and player 2 can get that ball and be wide open. Now, another option that may be there is when player 2 passes to player 4 could do a quick pass down to player 5 so that when player 2 is cutting across the key, he may be open right in the middle of the key and you could do a quick bounce pass to him, maybe even a no-looker if your center is good enough, and get a quick pass to him for a nice little floater in the middle. The other benefit to getting player 2 the ball in the middle of the key is the fact that it's going to 100% collapse that zone in on him. So now that means that player 3 is open for a shot, or depending on what happens, we could even kick the ball back out to player 4 over here. That's another option that may be there. However, I would be definitely looking for that floater or that 3-point shot by player 3. This is also another great option after player 2 cuts towards the basket and you see them trying to trap player 4 in the low post, in that low corner, which some teams may try to do. Again, a pass to player 5 and then a pass into player 2, that would then collapse players 1 and 3 or 1 and 5, in which case he could then pass back to player 5 for a layup or kick it out to player 1. So again, read and react and see what happens. Now another great option that there is, after player 2 cuts out towards that side, and we're going to be starting to see player 4 dribbling up, player 5 is going to be returning to the high post, to the free throw line, and we're going to be having this ball swinging around. Instead of going to player 1, I would actually like to see it go to player 5 in the high post. Again, for the reason of just the fact that now he's pulling player 5 up away from the baseline, and now we have player 3 who is defending 2 players. So, when that happens, we could have player 2 read that and cut baseline, and now player 3 red has a decision to make. He has a decision, do I want to stay here and be stuck in the middle of nowhere? Do I want to defend player 3's 3-point shot, or should I be smart and go and defend player 2 down in the low post cutting baseline? Because again, check this out, player 3 with a wide open shot. This is why I really like to run a 1-3-1 against a 2-3 or even a 3-2 zone, because when you get the ball to the low post, it sometimes opens up an opportunity, but when you get it to the high post, that is the dead zone, the kill zone in a zone defense. And by getting it to the high post, you are collapsing the defense. And with that, you will be getting some open 3-point shots or possibly even some baseline drives or baseline cuts. So now against the 3-2 zone, you would actually have to be really silly as a coach or team to run a 3-2 zone against a 1-3-1 offense. This is one of the offenses that I always choose. I usually always have a simple one in my back pocket, I guess you could say, for when teams want to run a 3-2 zone against me, because it's so simple to beat it. So number 1, passes to player 2, and we're going to see player 4 popping out towards the 3-point line. And then we're going to have player 5 go down towards the low post. So now player 4 is stuck as to where he needs to guard, because we're going to be seeing the zone move just like this, where now player 4, he is defending 2 players, player 5 and player 4. His zone states that he should be guarding that area. Depending on the coach, he may be guarding all the way out to the 3-point line, but generally how I run a 3-2, he's within the 3-point line and he's maybe 2 or 3 feet in, and then we would have player 2 guarding this area. That's how I personally run a 3-2 zone. Some coaches don't. Again, some coaches will just say player 2 would be guarding that zone there. So it comes down to how athletic, I guess you could say, your guards are. However, if you're running against a team that says, well, player 4 needs to go guard the 3-point line, well, now you've got a player 5 who's going to be wide open, and he's going to be able to score very easily. If you have a team like mine, where we have player 2 whose zone is like this, well, now we have player 4, wide open for a quick 3-point shot. Now, if they try to close out and trap, we now have a pass into player 5 for a nice easy layup. Or if he just runs down and is able to defend him quickly, we now have ourselves player 2 who is most likely wide open for a 3-point shot if he was just to stay still and stay in one spot. The other option is for player 4 to dribble up, player 2 to cut across the key. However, I would have player 3 move down and have player 2 do a high cut across. Now, instead of player 2 going towards that low corner, I would have player 2 go out towards the free throw line extended, so that we would have player 4 pass up to player 1. Now player 1 passing to player 2, player 5 going over towards that low post, player 2 would be open for a 3-point shot, and then we would have player 3 rolled down towards that low corner. So that now, if player 2 never got his shot off, we now have player 3 wide open, rolling off of that screen in that low corner. In our zone, we would be having one player defending 2. So there's a couple of quick strategies that you can run out of this motion offense. I know this video may have been a bit long, but I hope that you get to watch the whole thing, and I hope that all these plays get to work for your team. And if they do, let us know in the comment section below, and I will see you guys again later on today for the second video of the day.